Where would Minnie's motives, the circumstances of her life, the circumstances surrounding the murder of her husband, where would, does this have no role? Is it just, you know, she did it and that's the end of it? Do we take no account of this in deciding what is to become of Minnie?
No, I think that the investigation, like all criminal investigations, should really be fact-driven, and the evidence should be turned in. But all the other aspects of the jury, of the trial, the prosecution, the jury's hearing, the judgment, I think those other things could be taken into consideration.
I, too, am inclined to say the place for these considerations really is in the domain of sentencing and so on. But, and I think one should probably be more rigorous in the prosecution of murders than, let's say, certain petty crimes. But wouldn't you think that if you had a man on trial for robbing food from a grocery store, that as part of the consideration of guilt or innocence, it would matter and would be appropriate to ask whether or not he did this to feed a house full of children who had no food? I mean, Jean Valjean.
Well, no, I would stick with this only comes in at the sentencing phase. Or it comes in at the phase of prosecution. In other words, the prosecutor decides what charge is he going to bring. Is he even going to, you know, is he even going to pursue this?
Right.
But that at the phase of the jury trial, the jury is charged with the determination of facts. And it seems to me all of this talk of empathy is really disintegrative of our system. I mean, it's very hard in an age of compassion to speak about empathy, to speak against empathy, because it makes you seem antipathetic. But you know, I'd like to make the case against empathy. The special quality of judges and jurors is impartiality. Lady Justice is always pictured as blindfolded. Why is she blindfolded? Because she doesn't see persons. If she sees persons, she might empathize with some rather than others, and that leads to a skewing of justice.
I agree.
So God's justice is omniscient. He takes the blindfold off, but none of these human beings are capable of that.